What happens when a public figure decides they've had enough of false narratives and damaging headlines? Melania Trump's defamation cases are a testament to her resolve in protecting her reputation amidst relentless scrutiny. But what drives a former First Lady to take legal action against some of the world's most powerful media platforms? How do these lawsuits shape the broader conversation around media accountability and free speech? And what lessons can public figures in the media learn from her strategic approach? Let's explore this in detail. Melania Trump has long been a figure of fascination and scrutiny, balancing her role as a public figure with a resolute desire to maintain her privacy. As the former First Lady of the United States, she frequently faced commentary on her personal life, style, and decisions. Some of this attention was positive, lauding her grace and elegance, while other remarks were less flattering, sparking debates about her public image and private choices. Among her responses to such criticism, her willingness to take legal action against what she perceives as defamatory statements has been a defining feature of her public life. To understand Melania's relationship with media scrutiny, we must first acknowledge the unique position she holds. As the spouse of one of the most polarizing political figures in modern history, she has often found herself in the crosshairs of intense public and media attention. Unlike many public figures, however, Melania has often remained silent, preferring a reserved demeanor over public rebuttals. Yet there have been moments when this silence has been broken, not through words but through decisive legal actions aimed at defending her reputation. One of the most significant examples of this was her 2017 defamation lawsuit against the Daily Mail. The British tabloid published a story alleging that Melania had worked as a high-end escort before her marriage to Donald Trump. This claim, based on dubious sources, was not only unsubstantiated, but deeply damaging to her carefully curated image. For Melania, this was not just a personal affront, it was a professional one as well. Her legal team argued that the false allegations had harmed her ability to capitalize on her public role, particularly through potential branding and licensing opportunities. The legal proceedings that followed were a clear demonstration of Melania's approach to such matters. She filed lawsuits in both the United States and the United Kingdom, demanding retractions, apologies, and damages. Her legal strategy focused on proving that the claims were not only false but also harmful enough to warrant compensation. This approach paid off when the Daily Mail agreed to settle the case, issuing a public apology and paying approximately $2.9 million in damages. This case was not an isolated incident. Around the same time, Melania also pursued legal action against a Maryland-based blogger, Webster Tarpley, who had echoed the same escort allegations on his blog. While Tarpley was a far less prominent figure than the Daily Mail, Melania's decision to sue him sent a clear message. No platform, regardless of its size, would be allowed to tarnish her reputation with impunity. Tarpley ultimately settled the case, issuing an apology and agreeing to an undisclosed financial settlement. These cases set a precedent for how Melania would handle defamatory statements. Her willingness to engage in legal battles, even against relatively obscure figures, underscored her commitment to defending her public image. This approach was met with mixed reactions. Supporters praised her for standing up against media irresponsibility, viewing her actions as a rare example of a public figure taking tangible steps to protect their dignity. Critics, however, accused her of stifling free speech, arguing that such lawsuits could have a chilling effect on journalistic freedom. The tension between these viewpoints reflects a broader societal debate about the balance between freedom of expression and the right to protect one's reputation. On one hand, the media plays a crucial role in holding public figures accountable and fostering informed discourse. On the other hand, unchecked speculation and false allegations can cause significant harm, particularly when amplified by influential platforms. Melania's legal actions highlight the challenges of navigating this delicate balance, particularly in an era where misinformation can spread rapidly through digital and traditional media. While Melania's lawsuits against the Daily Mail and Webster Tarpley are among the most high-profile examples of her legal strategy, they are not the only instances where she has sought to challenge false narratives. Throughout her time in the White House, she frequently faced critical commentary, much of which she chose to ignore. However, her selective responses, particularly through legal means, have created a pattern that sets her apart from many other public figures. One area where Melania has consistently drawn media attention is her relationship with Donald Trump. As the wife of a divisive president, her marriage has been the subject of endless speculation, with commentators frequently interpreting her public appearances and actions through the lens of her relationship. While some of these discussions have been rooted in observation, others have ventured into unsubstantiated claims, ranging from allegations about her personal feelings toward her husband to rumors about her living arrangements. Melania's approach to these narratives has been largely one of silence, choosing not to engage with speculative commentary. This restraint, however, has not prevented her from taking legal action when she feels that a line has been crossed. Her history of defamation lawsuits suggests a clear threshold for when she chooses to act. The allegations must be not only false, but also damaging to her personal or professional life. This threshold is significant, as it reflects her understanding of the legal and reputational stakes involved in such cases. The legal concept of defamation, particularly as it applies to public figures like Melania, is complex. Under U.S. law, public figures must prove actual malice in defamation cases, meaning that the false statements were made knowingly or with reckless disregard for the truth. This high bar is intended to protect free speech while still providing a mechanism for individuals to defend their reputations. Melania's legal successes suggest that her team has been adept at navigating this challenging standard, focusing on cases where the evidence of falsehood and harm is strong. As Melania's history with defamation cases shows, her willingness to pursue legal action is not about suppressing criticism or avoiding accountability. Rather, it is about drawing a clear line between legitimate discourse and damaging falsehoods. This distinction is crucial, particularly in a media landscape where the boundaries between fact, opinion, and speculation are often blurred. The significance of these cases extends beyond Melania herself. They serve as a reminder of the power and responsibility of media platforms, as well as the importance of maintaining ethical standards in reporting and commentary. For public figures, the ability to challenge defamatory statements is an essential safeguard against the potential harm caused by misinformation. For the media, these cases underscore the need to balance robust commentary with accuracy and fairness. As we delve deeper into the narratives surrounding Melania and her approach to media scrutiny, it becomes clear that her actions are not just about defending her personal reputation. They are also about asserting control over her story, challenging the narratives that others have sought to impose upon her. This resolve, combined with her legal acumen, has made her a formidable figure in the ongoing conversation about media accountability and the rights of public figures. Melania Trump's legal actions against defamatory claims represent a rare but increasingly significant phenomenon in the relationship between public figures and the media. To understand the broader context of her approach, it's essential to explore not only the legal framework of defamation, but also how her specific cases have shaped the narrative around her public image. Unlike many public figures who adopt a let-it-pass approach to media scrutiny, Melania's strategy reflects a deliberate and calculated response to what she perceives as falsehoods intended to harm her reputation. Her high-profile lawsuit against the Daily Mail in 2017 is an instructive example. The case revolved around a sensational claim published by the British tabloid, which alleged that Melania had worked as a high-end escort before marrying Donald Trump. These allegations, while presented as part of a broader exposé, lacked credible evidence and were based on speculative sources. For Melania, whose public image is intricately tied to her role as a former First Lady and her brand as a poised and private individual, such claims posed a significant threat not only to her personal dignity, but also to her potential professional opportunities. What made the Daily Mail case particularly notable was the way Melania's legal team framed the damage caused by the allegations. In the lawsuit, they argued that the false claims had a direct impact on her ability to engage in commercial ventures. Specifically, the legal filing stated that the defamatory article undermined her brand value and her potential to monetize her public role through licensing, endorsements, and other ventures. This argument added a layer of complexity to the case, highlighting how defamatory statements can have tangible financial implications beyond personal distress. The outcome of the case was a significant victory for Melania. The Daily Mail not only issued a public apology but also agreed to pay approximately $2.9 million in damages. This settlement sent a clear message about the consequences of publishing unverified or speculative claims about high-profile individuals. It also underscored the importance of accuracy and accountability in media reporting, particularly when the subjects are public figures with substantial public and professional influence. Around the same time, Melania pursued legal action against Webster Tarpley, a Maryland-based blogger who had echoed similar escort allegations on his blog. Although Tarpley's platform was far smaller than the Daily Mail, Melania's decision to sue him reflected her commitment to challenging defamatory statements regardless of the source. Tarpley eventually settled the case out of court, issuing a formal apology and agreeing to an undisclosed financial settlement. While the monetary value of the settlement was likely smaller than that in the Daily Mail case, the symbolic victory reinforced Melania's stance on protecting her reputation from unfounded claims. The legal landscape surrounding defamation cases is particularly challenging for public figures like Melania. In the United States, the standard for proving defamation is significantly higher for public figures than for private individuals. This distinction is rooted in the landmark 1964 Supreme Court decision in New York Times Cumber v. Sullivan, which established the actual malice standard. Under this standard, public figures must demonstrate that defamatory statements were made with knowledge of their falsity, or with reckless disregard for the truth. This high threshold aims to balance the protection of individual reputations with the need to preserve robust public discourse and free speech. For Melania, meeting this standard has required a meticulous approach to evidence and legal strategy. In both the Daily Mail and Tarpley cases, her legal team focused on establishing the falsity of the claims and demonstrating the harm they caused. By securing public apologies and monetary settlements, they were able to reinforce the credibility of her challenges while discrediting the sources of the allegations. These outcomes also set a precedent for how other public figures might approach similar situations, particularly in cases where the defamatory statements are demonstrably false and damaging. The implications of these legal victories extend beyond Melania's individual reputation. They have contributed to a broader conversation about the responsibilities of media outlets and the limits of free speech in the digital age. In an era where information spreads rapidly through traditional and digital platforms, the potential for false or misleading narratives to gain traction is higher than ever. This dynamic places greater responsibility on media outlets to verify their claims and on public figures to actively counter false narratives that could cause significant harm. Melania's legal actions also highlight a tension that has become increasingly prominent in modern media discourse: the line between legitimate critique and harmful speculation. As a public figure, she has faced intense scrutiny over aspects of her life ranging from her fashion choices to her relationship with Donald Trump. While much of this commentary falls within the bounds of free speech, the cases she has pursued suggest that there are limits to what public figures should be expected to tolerate. In her view, crossing those limits, particularly through baseless and damaging allegations, warrants a firm response. Critics of Melania's approach argue that her lawsuits risk creating a chilling effect on free speech, particularly for smaller media outlets or individual commentators. They contend that the threat of legal action, even in cases where the claims might not meet the standard for defamation, could discourage critical reporting or commentary on powerful figures. Supporters, however, see her actions as a necessary counterbalance to the often unregulated nature of modern media. They argue that holding media outlets accountable for false claims is essential to maintaining trust and integrity in public discourse. One of the key challenges in navigating this debate is the role of subjectivity in media coverage. Many of the discussions surrounding Melania, particularly those related to her marriage or personal feelings, are inherently speculative. For example, commentators on shows like The View have frequently discussed her public appearances and body language as a way of interpreting her relationship with Donald Trump. While such discussions may be rooted in observation, they often blur the line between opinion and assertion, raising questions about their impact on public perception. This complexity underscores the importance of context and intent in evaluating media commentary. While opinion and satire are protected forms of speech, they can still have real-world consequences, particularly when they contribute to a broader narrative that misrepresents an individual's character or actions. For Melania, challenging such narratives through legal action is not just about correcting specific claims, it's about asserting control over her story in a media landscape that often prioritizes sensationalism over accuracy. As we consider the broader implications of Melania's approach to defamation cases, it becomes clear that her actions are part of a larger shift in how public figures engage with the media. Rather than passively accepting the narratives constructed about them, many are choosing to actively challenge false or misleading claims, often through legal means. This trend reflects a growing recognition of the power and influence of media platforms, as well as the need to establish boundaries that protect individual reputations while preserving the principles of free speech. For Melania, these boundaries are particularly significant. Her reserved public persona and limited media engagement make her an unusual figure in the world of modern celebrity, where visibility is often equated with success. This uniqueness has both amplified the scrutiny she faces and shaped her response to it, creating a dynamic that continues to evolve as she navigates her post-White House life. Through her legal actions, she has not only defended her own reputation, but also contributed to a broader dialogue about accountability, ethics, and the role of media in shaping public perceptions. Melania Trump's history with defamation cases reveals a strategic and calculated approach to managing her public image, particularly when it comes to challenging narratives she perceives as false or damaging. Her willingness to pursue legal action has established her as a figure unafraid to confront media outlets, bloggers, and other commentators who cross the line between critique and defamation. Examining the broader implications of these legal actions offers insights into how public figures navigate the balance between free speech and personal dignity in an era of relentless media coverage. One of the key challenges Melania has faced is the persistent scrutiny of her marriage to Donald Trump. As the spouse of a polarizing figure, her relationship has been a frequent topic of discussion, with commentators often speculating about her feelings, intentions, and role in the Trump family dynamic. While much of this commentary has been framed as opinion, some statements have veered into more harmful territory, alleging unhappiness or estrangement without credible evidence. These narratives have contributed to a public perception of Melania that often conflicts with her own carefully curated image. The difficulty for Melania lies in the nature of defamation law, particularly in the United States. Public figures like Melania must meet the high standard of proving actual malice in defamation cases, meaning that the false statements were made knowingly or with reckless disregard for the truth. This requirement is rooted in the landmark 1964 Supreme Court case New York Times Comer v. Sullivan, which sought to protect free speech and robust public discourse while providing a mechanism for individuals to defend their reputations. For Melania, this standard has shaped her legal strategy, pushing her to focus on cases where the evidence of falsehood and harm is particularly strong. Her defamation lawsuit against the Daily Mail in 2017 is a prime example of how she has navigated this legal framework. The tabloid's publication of unsubstantiated claims about her past not only damaged her personal reputation, but also had potential financial implications. By framing the lawsuit around the harm these allegations caused to her professional opportunities, Melania's legal team was able to demonstrate the tangible consequences of the false claims. The case's resolution, which included a public apology and a multi-million-dollar settlement, underscored the importance of accuracy and accountability in media reporting. While the Daily Mail case was notable for its scale and impact, Melania's legal actions have also extended to smaller platforms such as the lawsuit against Maryland-based blogger Webster Tarpley. By pursuing legal action against Tarpley, Melania sent a clear message that no source of defamatory claims, regardless of its prominence, would be overlooked. The settlement of this case, which included an apology and undisclosed financial terms, further reinforced her commitment to challenging false narratives. These cases highlight an important distinction in Melania's approach. She does not challenge every critical or speculative comment made about her. Instead, she appears to draw a clear line at statements that are both false and damaging to her reputation or professional prospects. This measured approach reflects an understanding of the legal and reputational risks associated with defamation lawsuits, as well as a recognition of the high bar set by the actual malice standard. For media outlets, Melania's legal actions serve as a cautionary tale. They highlight the potential consequences of publishing unverified claims, particularly when those claims target high-profile individuals. The settlements in her cases against the Daily Mail and Tarpley demonstrate the financial and reputational risks of failing to adhere to ethical reporting standards. At the same time, these cases also raise questions about the balance between holding the media accountable and preserving the freedom of expression that is central to democratic societies. The tension between these two principles is particularly evident in discussions about Melania's public persona. As a former First Lady, she occupies a unique position that combines elements of political, cultural, and celebrity influence. This hybrid role makes her a subject of public interest, but it also complicates the boundaries between legitimate critique and harmful speculation. For media outlets, navigating these boundaries requires careful consideration of the intent, accuracy, and context of their commentary. One area where this tension has played out is in the discussions about Melania's role in the White House, particularly her initiatives and public appearances. Critics have often contrasted her reserved approach with the more active and visible roles of previous First Ladies such as Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton. While such comparisons are not inherently defamatory, they have occasionally been accompanied by unverified claims about Melania's personal feelings or motivations. These narratives, while engaging for audiences, risk perpetuating stereotypes or misconceptions that can have lasting impacts on public perception. The media's treatment of Melania also reflects broader trends in how public figures are covered in the digital age. The rise of social media and online platforms has amplified the reach and influence of commentary, making it easier for false or misleading narratives to gain traction. For public figures like Melania, this dynamic presents both challenges and opportunities. On one hand, it increases the potential for harm caused by defamatory statements. On the other hand, it also provides a platform for individuals to directly counter false claims and assert their own narratives. Melania's legal actions against defamatory claims can be seen as part of a larger effort to assert control over her public image. By challenging false narratives through the courts, she is not only addressing specific instances of harm, but also setting a broader example for how public figures can respond to media scrutiny. This approach is particularly significant in an era where the lines between journalism, opinion, and entertainment are increasingly blurred. For media outlets, the lessons from Melania's cases extend beyond the specifics of defamation law. They highlight the importance of ethical reporting practices, including the verification of sources, the inclusion of context, and the avoidance of sensationalism. These principles are essential not only for avoiding legal risks, but also for maintaining the trust and credibility of audiences in a rapidly evolving media landscape. At the same time, Melania's actions have sparked important conversations about the role of public figures in shaping their own narratives. Her willingness to pursue legal action, even at significant financial and reputational cost, reflects a determination to challenge the status quo of media coverage. This determination has made her a polarizing figure, with supporters praising her for standing up to media irresponsibility and critics accusing her of undermining free speech. These debates are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon, but they underscore the complexity of the issues at stake. For Melania, the legal battles she has fought are not just about correcting specific claims. They are about asserting her dignity and integrity in a media environment that often prioritizes sensationalism over substance. For the media, these cases serve as a reminder of the responsibilities that come with influence, particularly in an era where public trust in journalism is increasingly fragile. As we continue to examine Melania's approach to defamation cases, it is clear that her actions have implications far beyond her personal reputation. They reflect broader shifts in the relationship between public figures and the media, highlighting the need for accountability, fairness, and respect in how narratives are constructed and communicated. By challenging false claims and demanding accountability, Melania has not only defended her own image, but also contributed to a larger dialogue about the power and responsibility of the media in shaping public perception. Melania Trump's defamation cases have always carried broader implications for the media, public figures, and the intersection of free speech and accountability. While the outcomes of her lawsuits provide clear examples of the consequences of publishing false claims, they also raise essential questions about the role of public figures in shaping their narratives and the responsibilities of media outlets in reporting on those in the public eye. Examining these dynamics reveals how her legal actions have influenced not only her personal reputation, but also broader conversations about media practices and ethics. A consistent theme in Melania's approach to defamation has been her focus on maintaining control over her public image. As someone who often avoids the limelight, her rare public appearances and statements are carefully curated to reflect her values and priorities. This intentionality contrasts sharply with the media's portrayal of her, which has often leaned into speculation and commentary about her personal life. The disconnect between these portrayals has made her one of the most enigmatic and scrutinized figures in recent memory. Her lawsuits against the Daily Mail and Webster Tarpley illustrate the specific type of narratives she has sought to challenge. These cases did not target generic criticisms or satirical remarks, but focused on false allegations that directly contradicted her public image and professional aspirations. By framing these lawsuits around the tangible harm caused by such claims, Melania's legal team positioned her actions as a necessary response to irresponsible reporting. This strategy was particularly evident in the Daily Mail case, where her legal team highlighted how the escort allegations undermined her ability to monetize her personal brand. This argument introduced a financial dimension to the concept of reputational harm, showing that false statements could have consequences beyond personal distress. By securing a public apology and a significant monetary settlement, the case demonstrated the effectiveness of this approach while reinforcing the need for media accountability. The broader implications of these cases extend to how media outlets approach their coverage of public figures. For platforms like the Daily Mail, which rely heavily on sensational headlines to drive traffic, Melania's lawsuit was a stark reminder of the risks of prioritizing clicks over accuracy. The financial and reputational costs of the case likely influenced how the outlet handled similar stories in the future, emphasizing the importance of verification and ethical reporting. This shift is particularly significant in the context of digital media, where the speed and volume of content often take precedence over careful fact-checking. The rise of social media has further amplified these challenges, making it easier for false or misleading narratives to spread rapidly. For public figures like Melania, this dynamic increases the potential for harm caused by defamatory statements, while also providing new tools to counter such narratives. Platforms like Twitter and Instagram, for example, allow individuals to directly address their audiences, bypassing traditional media gatekeepers. Despite these tools, the balance of power in the media landscape remains tilted in favor of large platforms with significant reach and influence. This imbalance is particularly evident in cases involving talk shows or high-profile commentary programs, where unscripted discussions can easily veer into speculative or controversial territory. For Melania, such programs have often been a source of frustration, with commentators frequently interpreting her public appearances or statements through a lens of personal critique. While much of this commentary falls within the bounds of free speech, it also highlights the fine line between opinion and assertion. One of the most contentious aspects of media coverage of Melania has been the frequent speculation about her marriage to Donald Trump. Public appearances where the couple's body language or interactions seemed strained have often been used as a basis for broader narratives about their relationship. While these interpretations are often framed as observations, they can contribute to a cumulative narrative that misrepresents her personal life. For Melania, challenging such narratives through legal action is not only about correcting specific claims, but also about asserting control over how her story is told. The tension between free speech and accountability is central to these debates. Media outlets argue that their role includes critiquing public figures and fostering open discussions about their actions and decisions. This perspective is rooted in the principle that public figures, by virtue of their influence and visibility, should be subject to a higher degree of scrutiny. However, this scrutiny must be balanced against the need to respect individual dignity and avoid spreading harmful falsehoods. Melania's lawsuits underscore the importance of maintaining this balance, particularly in cases where the stakes for public figures are exceptionally high. The legal concept of actual malice, which governs defamation cases involving public figures in the United States, is a key mechanism for navigating these tensions. By requiring plaintiffs to prove that defamatory statements were made knowingly or with reckless disregard for the truth, the standard protects robust public discourse while also providing a framework for addressing genuine harm. For Melania, meeting this standard has involved presenting clear evidence of the falsity and harm of the statements in question. Her legal successes suggest that her team has been effective in demonstrating these elements, particularly in cases where the false claims were clearly damaging to her personal and professional reputation. The outcomes of Melania's lawsuits have also influenced broader conversations about media practices and ethics. For journalists and commentators, the cases highlight the importance of verifying claims before publishing or broadcasting them, particularly when the subject is a high-profile individual. This principle is especially critical in the age of digital media, where the pressure to produce content quickly can sometimes overshadow the need for accuracy. For public figures, the cases serve as an example of how legal action can be used as a tool to counter false narratives, even in a media landscape that often favors sensationalism. However, Melania's approach has not been without controversy. Critics argue that her lawsuits risk creating a chilling effect on free speech, particularly for smaller outlets or independent commentators who may lack the resources to defend against legal challenges. This concern reflects a broader tension in defamation law: the need to balance the protection of individual reputations with the preservation of open and democratic discourse. While Melania's cases have largely targeted false and harmful statements, they also highlight the potential for defamation lawsuits to be used in ways that could stifle legitimate criticism or commentary. Despite these debates, Melania's actions have had a lasting impact on how public figures engage with the media. By taking a firm stance against defamatory claims, she has demonstrated that public figures can challenge false narratives without sacrificing their dignity or credibility. This approach has also contributed to a larger dialogue about the responsibilities of media outlets in covering high-profile individuals, emphasizing the need for fairness, accuracy, and accountability. For Melania, the broader significance of these cases lies in her ability to shape her own narrative in an environment where public figures often have limited control over how they are perceived. Her legal actions reflect a determination to challenge not only specific instances of defamation, but also the broader culture of speculation and sensationalism that often characterizes modern media coverage. By asserting her rights and holding media outlets accountable, she has set a powerful example for how public figures can navigate the complexities of their roles in the public eye. As the conversation around defamation, free speech, and media ethics continues to evolve, Melania's cases remain a critical reference point. They highlight the challenges and opportunities of navigating these issues in an increasingly interconnected and dynamic media landscape, offering valuable insights for public figures, journalists, and audiences alike. Through her actions, Melania has not only defended her own reputation, but also contributed to a broader understanding of the responsibilities and boundaries that shape our shared discourse. Melania Trump's approach to defamation lawsuits represents a calculated effort to address the challenges of public life while asserting control over her narrative. These actions, while deeply personal, have implications that extend far beyond her individual experiences. They touch on the evolving role of media in shaping public perception, the legal frameworks that govern speech and reputation, and the broader societal dynamics that influence how we view public figures. Examining these aspects in detail provides a comprehensive understanding of why her actions resonate so widely. As the former First Lady, Melania occupies a unique position in the public consciousness. Her reserved and private nature contrasts sharply with the high visibility and controversy often associated with her husband, Donald Trump. This dynamic has created fertile ground for media speculation, with narratives about her personal life often filling the gaps left by her limited public statements. While much of this coverage falls within the realm of opinion or critique, Some instances have crossed into the territory of unverified claims and harmful allegations. It is in these instances that Melania has chosen to act, using defamation lawsuits as a tool to protect her reputation and challenge what she views as irresponsible media practices. One of the most significant outcomes of Melania's lawsuits is the precedent they set for how public figures can address defamatory statements. Her cases against the Daily Mail and Webster Tarpley, for example, highlight the importance of presenting clear evidence of harm and falsity when pursuing legal action. These cases were not about silencing critics or avoiding accountability, but about addressing specific claims that were demonstrably false and damaging. By securing public apologies and financial settlements, Melania was able to reinforce the credibility of her challenges while discouraging similar behavior from other media outlets. The financial aspect of these cases is particularly noteworthy. In the Daily Mail lawsuit, her legal team framed the harm caused by the escort allegations not only as a matter of personal dignity, but also as a professional issue. They argued that the false claims undermined her ability to capitalize on her public role, including through licensing and endorsement opportunities. This argument introduced a new dimension to the concept of reputational harm, emphasizing the tangible financial consequences of defamatory statements. The settlement, which included a payment of approximately $2.9 million, underscored the seriousness of these claims and the potential risks for media outlets that fail to adhere to ethical reporting standards. While Melania's legal victories have been celebrated by her supporters, they have also sparked important conversations about the balance between free speech and accountability. Critics of her approach argue that defamation lawsuits, particularly those targeting smaller platforms or individual commentators, risk creating a chilling effect on public discourse. This concern reflects a broader tension in defamation law, which seeks to protect robust debate while providing a mechanism for addressing genuine harm. For public figures like Melania, navigating this tension requires a careful and strategic approach, focusing on cases where the evidence of harm and falsity is particularly strong. The implications of Melania's lawsuits extend beyond the specifics of her individual cases. They highlight broader trends in how public figures are engaging with the media and the legal tools they are using to challenge false narratives. In an era where misinformation can spread rapidly through traditional and digital platforms, defamation lawsuits have become an increasingly prominent means of addressing harmful claims. This trend reflects a growing recognition of the power and influence of media platforms, as well as the need for mechanisms to hold them accountable. For media outlets, Melania's cases serve as a reminder of the importance of ethical reporting practices. The rise of digital media and the 24-hour news cycle has created significant pressure to produce content quickly, often at the expense of careful verification. This dynamic increases the risk of publishing false or misleading information, particularly in stories about high-profile individuals. By challenging such claims through legal action, Melania has underscored the potential consequences of prioritizing speed and sensationalism over accuracy and fairness. At the same time, her actions have sparked debates about the role of public figures in shaping their own narratives. Unlike many public figures who choose to ignore or downplay defamatory claims, Melania has taken a proactive approach, using the legal system to assert her rights and challenge false narratives. This determination reflects her understanding of the high stakes involved in public life, where reputational harm can have significant personal, professional, and financial consequences. Melania's approach also highlights the complexities of navigating media coverage as a public figure. While she has largely avoided direct engagement with the press, her legal actions demonstrate a willingness to confront the narratives she perceives as harmful. This dual strategy, maintaining a reserved public persona while taking decisive action when necessary, has allowed her to assert control over her image without becoming entangled in the day-to-day dynamics of media discourse. The impact of Melania's lawsuits is further amplified by the broader context in which they occur. The rise of social media and online commentary has blurred the lines between journalism, opinion, and entertainment, creating new challenges for public figures and media outlets alike. In this environment, the boundaries between fact and speculation are often unclear, making it easier for false or misleading narratives to gain traction. For Melania, addressing these challenges has required not only legal action, but also a broader effort to establish and protect her narrative in a rapidly changing media landscape. The lessons from her cases extend beyond the realm of public figures and media outlets. They also offer insights for audiences who play a crucial role in shaping the dynamics of modern media. As consumers of information, we have a responsibility to critically evaluate the sources and claims we encounter, particularly in stories about public figures. Melania's lawsuits serve as a reminder of the importance of media literacy and the need to question the accuracy and intent of the narratives we engage with. Ultimately, Melania's legal actions are about more than just defending her reputation. They are about challenging the culture of speculation and sensationalism that often characterizes modern media coverage. By taking a stand against defamatory claims, she has not only protected her own image but also contributed to a broader dialogue about the responsibilities of media outlets and the rights of public figures. This dialogue is essential for maintaining the balance between free speech and accountability, ensuring that public discourse remains both vibrant and fair. As we reflect on Melania's approach to defamation, it is clear that her actions have had a lasting impact on how public figures and media outlets navigate their roles in society. Her willingness to challenge false narratives and hold media platforms accountable has set an important precedent, offering valuable lessons for journalists, public figures, and audiences alike. In doing so, she has demonstrated that even in a complex and rapidly evolving media landscape, it is possible to assert one's rights and protect one's dignity without compromising the principles of free speech and open discourse. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.